Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gem Cave. Trying a new intro, let me know if you like it or not. We are going to get into what in the world is this? So this is a project that I have been working on over the last 3 weeks or so. Before I get too into it, number one, this is just for fun. This is just something to tinker with. This is something I wanted to do for a little bit, but didn't quite know how to, and at some point I just said, screw it, let's go ahead and figure this out. And so, this is what we came up with. This is a Canon VL lens from a camcorder from 1991, and it is on a modern mirrorless body. Let's go ahead and take this off. Now, why in the world did I make this? Well, I already had this lens, and basically it's been sitting around for, a year or so. I tried selling it, no one was buying it, so eventually I just said, screw it, what could go wrong, right? Okay, so I started getting into it. And this is essentially a mount replacement for these older Canon VL lenses. We have our sensor there, mirrorless camera, we have an RF mount on this VL lens, and it goes on and it locks in place, and it does work. As we can see here, you are looking at the small image circle that this lens is able to provide. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. The focus ring can do its thing, and yeah, it's pretty functional. Now, what I will say is the focal length is not entirely correct, so it won't act fully how it's supposed to. Of course, it's not going to anyway, because it's meant for a much bigger sensor, a much smaller sensor than what this camera actually is. I believe it's a 1/2-inch sensor or something like that. I don't exactly remember, but as you can see, the image circle is tiny on this lens. Now, if I move on over to video here, okay, it's gonna look a little blown out because you're looking at it on the screen, not through the camera itself. But as you can see, it's working just fine. And then if I put it over to C2, where it's cropped in a bit, you can actually see even more because of that crop. And again, zoom works. Again, your focal distance is going to be a little bit off because of the distance between the sensor and the lens, which I will explain here in a bit. But as you can see, it is fully functional. This old lens from 1991/2/3, working on a modern mirrorless RF camera. Do I recommend going out and buying one of these lenses to do this? No. Are you going to anyway? If you want to. If you already have one of these lenses and the camera isn't functional, I don't see why not. But yeah. So let's go ahead and show you how I did this. Instructions will be in my Discord server in the announcements channel. And it'll be pinned in there, and it'll also say that it's associated with VD239. That way, if you come across it in the Discord, or if you're watching this video right now, VD239, and you want to make sure that it is the correct downloadable zip file, then that is how you can tell. In that zip file, we'll have basic worded instructions for what to do. Once you get the files downloaded, there will be 2 links in that zip folder that will take you to the 2 files you need to download, and then there will be instructions for what to do once you get it into your slicer. It will also have example images, including 3 images from the camera itself using this lens, and then 2 images showing how it should look in the slicer. The examples in there are used with Ultimaker Cura. That being said, let's get into this thing. Alrighty, after you have downloaded the instructions from my Discord, and then you have downloaded the 2 files from the links in the instructions, follow the instructions for how to print them. Then once you have them printed, you should have 2 parts. They should look like these 2. So this is your RF adapter ring, and then this is your adapter plate. The first step is to remove the 5 screws holding in the mount, and then you are going to remove the original VL mount. The next thing you are going to do is take off these 3 screws on this outside cup. Once those 3 screws are removed, you're going to take off that cup, and then you have the internal bits of the lens. Now, I went ahead and just unplugged the motors, and as we can see here, one motor is for the zoom. You can remove these if you want to. I just went ahead and left them in. But one motor is for the zoom, and then the other motor, there we go, the other motor is for your focusing. Again, these can stay in, these can come out, whatever you want, doesn't really matter. What we're after here is the aperture actuator, okay? Now, by default, the aperture in these lenses are closed when they have no power to them. Let's see here. If I take my screwdriver here, I can move this arm, and this arm controls, don't know how well it'll come through here. This arm, I don't think it's going to show. This arm controls the aperture in the lens. Yeah, you can see through it, but I won't really be able to show it. But it controls the aperture inside of the lens. I had originally had this aperture locked open the whole way, but that seemed to be too bright, and even altering the ISO couldn't change the blowout in broad daylight. So I just went ahead and limited it to about halfway. So it's supposed to go back more than this. I took a piece of styrene sheet, cut it, and then glued it with just a dab of CA glue. Just a dab will allow it to securely be locked open without a permanent alteration to the lens, at least for the aperture actuator here. So it's supposed to be able to close more than this, but again, I have that there blocking it so that we're constantly at probably somewhere between f3.5 and 5.6, I would assume is where this is. Again, I can't tell because I can't power up the lens. I don't have a body to go onto it. But yes, you have to lock the aperture open. You got to lock it to where you want it, and then you can't alter it unless you take this cup back off. Once you have locked this in place and you have done whatever you want to with these guys, we can then put the cup back on, and we want to line up the red dot here with the lines here and here for our zoom and focus. I don't know if it's lined up with these by default. I don't remember, honestly, but when you mount it to the RF body, you want it in this position. Now, when I say line it up, I mean get it close, because obviously the alignment for the holes are going to be off from this line. So, I'm just going to go ahead and do that real quick. Okay. You can see that from the line to the dot, it's off about that much. Now that our aperture is locked open and we can see through the lens, we can then continue with our next portion here. And the next step is to take our 3D printed parts here. Okay, these are just example parts. And we are going to take this and put it here. Now, as you can see on this lens specifically, it doesn't quite fit around, okay? So what we have to do is, these are prints that someone else created, and I don't know how to use CAD software, so I just printed them and then altered them from there. Again, if you want to know who made these prints, you can download the instructions and they will be in there. The links to them will be in there. From here, I took a Dremel and I Dremeled out this center section until it fit around this metal lip here. Okay, and then from there, you can go ahead and line this up so that the screw holes match up. Trim the outside if you need to, and once you are done, it should be perfectly flush. You should not be able, your fingernail should just barely, if anything, hook against the edge there. It really should just glide right over. And so that's how you know that your adapter plate is perfect. Next, we are going to work on this. But before we get into that, you want to take a marker or something and mark where this red dot is, where this lines up onto your adapter plate. So you're just going to make a mark right there so that you know where that is. Next, you are going to take your RF body and you are going to very carefully put your RF adapter in. Okay, once you find the spot where it goes in easily, you're then going to mark that, and then you're going to twist it on, and once you can't twist it anymore, you're going to mark where the pinhole is so that you can drill that out later. As we can see on this one, I tried to do it a different way and I reversed the pinhole. Now you can do one of two things to make that pinhole. You can either use a tiny driver like this, or I have a different attachment that allows me to just poke a hole in with a rotating sanded bit. Either way works. I've done both. And as you can see, of course, this one I accidentally reversed it. So it should be over here, not over here. Mistakes get made. But yeah. And then bringing this back over, right? Okay. You're going to pop your plate back off. And now what you can do is you can line up your ring with the plate. Okay. And then from there, you are going to look at the holes on the thing, your screw holes, and you're going to put a mark at each screw hole, right? Okay, you can do it there, or you can come over to this side, make sure your two ends are lined up, and then, you know, mark them on the back. I would suggest marking them on the back. That way, all of your marks are facing towards the lens and not, you know, to the camera, just for visual sake. Once you are done making those dots, you are going to remove this, and then you're going to take a Dremel for each of those dots, and you're going to make cutouts so that you can have the screw heads, you know, be able to move in and out more easily. This is the first version, just using this as an example. Okay, all right. We can see our, let me get some sort of pointing device here. We can see the mark for the attachment point. We have our hole here for the pin. the locking pin. We have our 5 holes here. Okay, if we look on the inside, again, this is the first version of this adapter. It has some use. It's also a little thick, but it's fine for this purpose. As we can see here from looking at it from the corner here, we can see the little cutout for the screw head. Again, cutout for the screw head, cutout for the screw head, right? Okay. And you just want to shave off enough on the corner so the screw head can move up and down a bit. And yeah. And if we take this one and put it on our camera, we can see that the locking pin is in and that our attachment point, whatever you want to call it, is there. If we twist it off here, you can see it goes on and off just fine. Twist it enough, the pin engages, and then it's locked into place. I am being very careful with this camera and the sensor. Don't you worry. And just like that, we have our adapter. Now, the new adapter that I've been using is currently drying because I had to make a modification on it and it required just a little bit of super glue. And yeah. A part that I forgot to make before is once you have made those modifications to your 2 pieces, you know, you have made your cutouts for the screw heads, you have done the other things that you need to do to these, right? Okay, you are going to line up, well, you're going to put glue all on the outside of this. And when I say glue, I mean liquid CA glue, not gel. You want liquid CA glue so that it can actually get in between the layers and have a strong bond. Sometimes when you use liquid CA glue, it is even stronger than the print lines themselves, depending on the quality of your print. Do not knock CA glue with 3D printed stuff, especially with this thickness of layer lines, 0.04 millimeters. You are going to, again, once you have your cutouts and all that, you're going to put glue all around the outside edge. You are going to line up your screw head divots and your attachment point guide, whatever you want to call it, and you are going to very carefully try to very evenly place that down on top, right? And then you will end up with this. Again, my current adapter for this is drying, so we are going to use the old one. First thing you're going to do is test fit this onto your lens. Now, in my case specifically, because I'm using an old version of this lens adapter, the red dot and the mounting thing is not going to line up, but they should line up in the one that you are making. Once you have the screw holes lined up, you're going to push it down. And once you do, there should be 0 space between this metal lip and your RF mount. There should be no space in there whatsoever. The closer you can get that to where there's no space in there, the better, because the distance between the sensor and the lens matters a lot. So you want to make sure that the base of your RF mount is flush up against that metal ridge. After that, after you have verified that it is in fact flush, you are going to very carefully pop it back off. And then we are going to take our screws and then one by one, before you put this on the lens, you are going to put each screw, provided it doesn't do that, going to take each screw and put it through the hole. Like this. Gonna do it for all 5 of them. So your mount should look like this. And now you are ready to screw this onto your lens. And you are going to carefully do a little bit of each screw at a time. There isn't a lot of room for the heads of the screws to move around. Okay? So again, you're just going to go a little bit at a time. And another thing I want to say is do not get wet CA glue anywhere near the lens. When you're doing your gluing, do it off and away from the lens and the sensor and all of that. CA glue releases vapor and it will fog up a lens, a sensor, anything that it is close to. That's what some of this white stuff is on the lens mount. There isn't a lot, there's some right there. Yeah, that's what that white stuff is. It's vapor that has dried. You do not want that around your lens. And then once again, you just want to check and make sure that it is fully seated throughout the whole thing. And then again, what you're gonna do, you're just gonna pop it on. And there you go. Your lens is attached to your RF camera and it should work. As for the lens hood, sometimes they come with the default one. Other times it won't. This is a standard 72mm threaded thing. You can get one of these rubber ones that comes with this ring here. You screw this ring on and then this just pops right on over it. And then you have your lens hood. Especially if you want to go for that more vintage look. And yeah, that is it for this video, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed. Maybe in part 2 of this, we'll go around a third version of this RF mount, or we'll go out and take some video or pictures or whatever. If you want to see pictures of this, again, go to my Discord, download the instructions, and there will be example photos in there as well. That is it for this video. Hope you guys enjoy, and we will see you in the next one. Have a good one, guys.